The hardest thing I see my clients struggling with when they're trying to co-parent is letting go of control. So yes, you have a very controlling spouse, and that's why you're leaving this marriage, but you're used to having a good deal of control over what happens with your children. I mean, that's the scenario I see most of the time. So let's talk about how you can develop new muscles around letting go of some of that control. But first, will you do me a favor and subscribe to my channel? That's how these videos are going to reach more of the people who really need to hear this information. I'm Victoria McCooey. I'm a narcissist divorce coach, a motivational speaker, and the creator of the Reclaim Your Power system. I help people every day who are right where you are, stuck in a toxic marriage to a narcissistic spouse, or already engaged in a contentious divorce from one. All right, so like I said, you're used to having a lot of the control over what goes on with your children. And now you're having to deal with a new scenario where your spouse is now in control some of the time, some portion of the time. Maybe it's 50% of the time, maybe it's less, maybe it's more. But what typically happens in these marriages, at least from my experience with hundreds of clients at this point and my own experience, is that yes, these narcissistic men had no bid for any of the childcare, right? That was your job. You did everything surrounding the children, like scheduling appointments or play dates or pickup or drop off or doctor's appointments or teacher conferences or really anything that was going on in their life. That was your area. They might sit on a high throne and shout out orders or directions, but you were the one actually doing all the implementation, I'm guessing. Now, all of a sudden, when they're in a custody battle or seeing child support numbers that they want to avoid, now suddenly they're touting themselves as the caregiving parent. I always did everything. She did nothing. It happens all the time. So this father, who was pretty much absentee during all the maintenance of the children, now is purporting to have been doing it all. So in their part of the visitation on their schedule, they are going to have to control their share of the maintenance of the child. What I see happening lately in custody decisions, they're dividing up those duties on a yearly basis. So you know how when you do custody schedules, they usually say the main holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, all those alternate, like they're with the mother on even years, father on odd years, and then it flips. So they're doing that with scheduling appointments too. So it'll be, okay, on odd years, the father schedules all of the doctor's visits or parent-teacher conferences or whatever. It's all written out that way. Okay, so if that's the scenario and it's dad's year to schedule appointments, here's what could happen, right? You're used to being in control. And if it doesn't happen, now you're freaking out because you know it has to happen and it's not happening. So that's just an example of something you might be facing. So here's what I tell my clients. Do a litmus test, okay? Take the scenario, take the issue that's happening and do a litmus test on it and just say, is it something that you can control? And if it's not something that you can change or fix or control, let it go. You can't override dad's bad parenting all the time, right? So you stay in your lane. You do what you're supposed to do. If it's something you can't change or fix, you have to accept that that is what it is. Now, chances are it's not going to damage the child's life forever, right? It's going to be a momentary inconvenience or disappointment or whatever. And I know you don't want that for your child, but this is a necessary part of the process for dad to be allowed to fail So stay in your lane. I'm going to give you an example of something that came up recently. A client had a child who needed to have their school physical by a certain date, or else they couldn't start the preseason practice for their team sport, right? So it wasn't just the regular physical date that all students had to have their exams in by. It was an earlier date because of the preseason practice. But this had been going on for years, and it wasn't the first child to have this, so this wasn't a surprise on anyone's part. It was Dad's year to make the doctor's appointment, and he didn't do it in time, and by the time he tried to schedule it, all the appointments were taken up until that time, and the son wasn't able to start preseason practice with everyone else. He had to wait until he could get in to see the doctor to get his physical. All right, Mom's losing her marbles over this because Dad failed. Dad didn't do what Dad was supposed to do. She was coming to me like, what do I do? Do I call the doctor? Or do I try to get him? Do I try to get another doctor? What do I do? I'm like, nope, you can't do anything. That is Dad's chore. That was his responsibility to do. And you don't fix this. The litmus test here is, this is not your problem. This is not your problem to solve. This, unfortunately, Timmy or whoever can't start, but this is not going to change the trajectory of Timmy's life. This is not going to hurt Timmy physically in any way. Timmy is going to be fine. He will go to soccer practice at some point. He won't be there on day one. And yeah, he will be disappointed, and the coach will not like it, and all these things. But this is not your battle to fight, right? So can you imagine yourself being able to let go? It's really important not to take on all this burden and let Dad parent. And even if Dad fails, either Dad will learn and do it better next time, or he won't and he doesn't care. And that's a lesson Timmy learns about Dad. Maybe it's a positive for Timmy because now he has to be more aware. He has to step up. He's in high school. Maybe he has to be the one to say, hey, I need to have a physical by this date. Somebody needs to get that, or I'm going to call the doctor myself, or whatever. This is Timmy's journey with his dad. So good things can come of it. It reminds me of a story from my own childhood where, all right, so my parents were both 20 years old when I was born. So I practically had to raise myself, right? They did not know what they were doing. They were children themselves. I can remember coming home in second grade. So how old are you in second grade? Like 7 or 8, I think. I remember coming home from school and saying, Mom, all the Catholic kids went to something called catechism after school today. So you're going to need to figure that out and find out how I go to that. So I had to step up. Yes, it informed a lot of my personality, for better or worse, but that was my journey. This is Timmy's journey. So you can't bubble wrap your children. You can't make them have nothing go wrong in their lives ever. And would that be a good thing? For them never to have any disappointment or any bump in the road or anything? Will they be prepared for adulthood if nothing ever did not go their way? So just imagine that this is for Timmy's good too. It's for Dad's own good. It's for Timmy's own good. Stay out of it, all right? And there's one more silver lining to this. If you're the parent who always gets things done the right way, in the right time, and is efficient and effective and reliable and responsible and consistent, and the other parent's not, guess who the child is going to go to with their hurdles, with their issues, with what they need help with who do you think they're going to believe will be the biggest support in their life? All right, so there's your silver lining. If you need some more help, support, or guidance around co-parenting with a toxic ex, then you can book a call with me. I'll put a link below in the description where you can get on my calendar. Did you find this information helpful? I hope you did. If you liked this video, will you please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. I linked a couple of other videos here that I think you might also like, so I hope I see you in the next video.